4 true college horror stories. Story 1. The Haunted Dorm Room. Reddit user college. Ghost Hunter shared a chilling experience from their time in a university dormitory. The dorm was an old building with a storied history, known for its creaky floors and antique furnishings. As the user settled into their room, they began to notice strange occurrences. At first, it was just the occasional cold draft or unexplained noise, but things escalated quickly. One night, the user was woken by a loud bang coming from the closet. When they checked, there was nothing out of place. Over the following weeks, objects in the room began to move on their own, and eerie whispers filled the user and their roommate decided to investigate and found that the room had once been the site of a tragic event. Many years ago, a student had died under mysterious circumstances, and the room had been left untouched for a long period. The ghostly activity seemed to be connected to this tragic past. Despite their efforts to make peace with the spirit, the hauntings continued. The user would often hear the sound of footsteps following them around the room and see fleeting shadows out of the corner of their eye. The dorm's eerie atmosphere became a constant source of fear, and they were relieved when the semester ended and they could move out. Story 2. The Cursed Library Book. In a post titled Library Horror, a Reddit user recounted a terrifying experience involving a book from their college library. The user was a literature student who spent long hours in the library, often alone. One day, they came across an old, dusty book in the library's rare collections section. Curious, they checked out the book and took it home. That night, strange things began to happen. The user would hear scratching noises coming from inside the book, and they noticed that the text seemed to change every time they opened it. The book also gave off a chilling cold whenever they touched it. As the user delved deeper into the book, they discovered disturbing content about dark rituals and curses. They tried to return the book, but it was always checked out to them whenever they went back to the library. The book's presence seemed to bring an aura of malevolence, and the user started experiencing nightmares involving shadowy figures and eerie whispers. Eventually, they decided to burn the book, hoping to rid themselves of the curse. The fire was intense and lasted far longer than expected, leaving behind only ash and a lingering sense of dread. The haunting experiences ceased after the book was destroyed, but the user remained haunted by the chilling of the mysterious roommate. Campus Shills shared a creepy story about a roommate experience in college. The user was a freshman who had just moved into a shared dorm room. Their new roommate was a friendly and outgoing person, but there was something odd about them. The user noticed that their roommate would disappear for long periods and return with an unsettling, distant look in their eyes. One night, the user woke up to find their roommate standing in the middle of the room, staring blankly at the wall. When asked what was wrong, the roommate would simply mumble incoherently and go back to bed. Things took a darker turn when the user discovered a hidden journal under their roommate's bed. The journal was filled with disturbing entries about strange rituals and conversations with entities that only the roommate could see. The entries became increasingly erratic, describing how the roommate was being watched by something sinister. Frightened, the user tried to confront their roommate, but the roommate became hostile and refused to talk about the journal. Eventually, the user decided to move out of the dorm for their safety. The roommate's behavior continued to be a mystery, and the user was left with an unsettling story about their time in college. Story 4. The Unseen Stalker. In a Reddit post titled Stalker Tales, a user described a terrifying experience involving an unseen stalker on campus. The user was a junior who had recently started walking home alone after late-night study sessions. They began to notice a shadowy figure following them from a distance. At first, they thought it was just their imagination or someone else walking the same route. However, the feeling of being watched grew more intense. The user reported hearing footsteps behind them, even though no one was there when they turned around. One night, the user decided to confront the stalker. They waited in a dark alley and saw the shadowy figure emerge. As they approached, the figure vanished, leaving behind a chilling cold. The user was unable to find any trace of the stalker and felt a growing sense of paranoia. The experience left the user feeling unsafe on campus, and they began taking precautions like walking with friends and avoiding dark areas. Despite reporting the incidents to campus security, the stalker was never identified. The user's sense of being followed continued to haunt them, and they remained on high alert throughout the rest of their college years.